Okay, I'm gonna mute everybody real quick. Unmute Bob here. Okay, so we got Bob Lucido on the call today for all the Team Boom Diamonds. We've been trying to do a call like this once a month. We've had one of Bob's coaches. I'm sure a lot of you guys know Keith Callahan is Bob's upline or Bob is Keith's upline. So Bob has signed up Keith as a coach. So you guys have heard Keith Callahan talk. I know a lot of you guys have read his book. So Bob's the one that got Keith into the business, introduced him to the business. And that took a few attempts. We'll just say that. Bob is somebody that I met in January of 2010 at a game plan event, which is kind of a little bit similar to like a Super Saturday local event. And when I met him, we were both Emeralds at the time. So he was just kind of starting out a little bit. I was just kind of starting out. And then about a year and a half later, I was, I think, still an Emerald. And Bob was, I think, creating a six-figure income. I remember going to an event a year and a half later, and Bob was leading the event. And I was in the crowd, and I remember being like, "Hey, I remember Bob. I remember that ponytail. Like, I remember meeting him. He was an Emerald when I first started." And now he was up in front of the entire event, leading the event, and sharing how he had created a six-figure income and was retiring from his attorney job. And I was like, "Oh my God! Like, I can't believe I didn't treat this like a business the way he has treated this business the last year and a half." And I remember turning to my buddy at the time, and I looked at him and I said, "All right, enough is enough. Like, I'm going to create a six-figure income with this business. I'm going to quit my accounting job, and then I'm going to grow a ponytail." And so I always kind of followed Bob and like watched his story from afar. And then we've gotten to be good friends since then, which is really cool. And he's someone that has earned over $4 million in commissions from the business. So you've heard of the Million Club, or they call the Legacy Club now. That's when you earn a cumulative of $1 million. Well, he's done that 4 times. You know, he's at that point now where he's earned $4 million. And he has, I want to say, I'll look it up just so I don't say it incorrectly, but he has, so there's 30 coaches in his downline that have earned the rank of 5-star diamond and above. And he has 15 coaches in his downline that have earned their way into the Legacy Club, which is the Million Club, you know, the old Million Club. So 15 coaches in his downline have earned over $1 million in commission. So this guy knows, you know, what he's talking about. He knows how to develop leaders. He knows how to create a culture. So Bob's so excited to have you on here to share with the leaders on Team Boom. And if you want to just start out by maybe kind of how you heard about Beachbody, and we can kind of jump into the whole volume creation, developing leaders part of it.
Sounds great. Thank you very much for having me. First of all, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm not sure what time it is. Just you're getting me fresh off of my workout, so I'm a little sweaty. If you were sitting next to me, you probably wouldn't want to. Well, whatever. Let's just say you wouldn't want to be sitting right next to me right now. Day 1, week 2, 6 weeks of the work. For those of you who are doing it, you know just about how I feel right now. But here it is, the real deal. Thank you so much for having me, Team Boom. The Realmans are one of my favorite families in this business. And as Patrick said, we've all known each other for quite a long time. It's always great to get together at the events. Patrick and I visited a little bit at Leadership, but we've been to many of those things together, the Success Club trips and Summit and all of those kinds of things. And, right off the bat, just let me throw it out there because it's on the tip of my tongue right now. That's kind of job one here. You got to be a participant. We got to be an active participant. And we're going to talk a lot about, earning income and that kind of thing. It all starts with being an active participant. And, so Patrick's first question is, basically how I got started kind of thing. I got started as a customer, like so many of us do. If I don't know if any of you were at the Boston Super Saturday this last week, but We had an amazing time, and such a just a great meeting. But one of the things that people were talking about was kind of the history of how we got to where we are now. And Michael Neiman was there, and he was speaking, and he was talking a little bit about the old message boards, before Facebook and before social media. Team Beachbody had its own website, and for those of you who are old enough to remember, back in the day before social media exploded, independent websites used to have something called a message board. You had to go into their, log into their website, and then you'd have an opportunity to talk with other people who were members there. And that's really how this whole thing got started for me. As Patrick mentioned, I was an attorney before being a Beachbody coach. I'm married. I have a family. I have 4 kids. I was running a law firm, working 60 plus hours a week. So I was the picture of, I don't have enough time, right? But I got convinced by a friend of mine to do this crazy workout in front of the TV set, which I laughed at when it was first introduced to me. I was like, there's no way I'm doing that. But I got convinced and fell in love and became a believer. And not only did I become a believer, but it really reawakened a passion that has been mine for my whole life. When I was a kid, I always played sports, and through school and high school and all of that stuff, sports was always a passion. I practiced martial arts for 20 years plus of my life, and it kind of was a side thing. And when I first bumped into P90X, I was 42 years old, I think. Yeah, about 42 years old. And that passion was way in the back. There wasn't much going on with it at that time. But going through P90X kind of reawakened that. And then the opportunity to share just what I was doing, the fun I was having, the excitement I was experiencing with other people it was just fun for me. It was just like, wow, I can talk to other people about what I'm doing, and I'm following other people, and there were a couple of people in there, Josh Spencer, Barbie Decker was her name at that time. For those of you who know Barbie and Josh, they were a couple original ones. The Frenches up in Maine had a little section. And it was just a bunch of people just doing their thing, doing this fitness thing, doing this crazy workout P90X, and talking to each other about it and sharing tips and sharing about the triumphs and the trials and all of that kind of stuff. All of what it is that we do now as coaches. And that's just all it was, though. We weren't getting paid. It was just that. I think I got muted there somehow. No. And that's all it was.
It was a little bit harder back then without Instagram stories.
Yeah, it sure was.
Yeah.
It sure was. But that was the beginning of coaching. And then as Patrick said, they kind of formalized it, put out this opportunity where you could kind of do that we were already doing. Some of us were already doing, and Carl and Michael and some of the people who are running the company noticed that, hey, you know what? That's helping people get results. That's driving results. And it was funny because at the Super Saturday this last weekend, Michael was talking about from the corporate standpoint, like he was talking about how he would watch what was happening on the message boards and how they were, it sort of got the wheels turning on this coaching opportunity thing, and how important it is for people to have that support and connection. And it wasn't even support in terms of, none of us were personal trainers. We weren't like training each other. We were just supporting each other. And it was just the idea of being in it with other people. And then the opportunity to actually do that, which we were already doing, and earn some money, came in. And as Patrick said, we had a really small little game plan event that happened in Boston. Carl came out. It's funny, I always laugh because I think we had like the whole corporate team. And, nowadays they're all split up all over the place, and it's rooms of 500 people and 1,000 people. And back then, we had like the whole corporate team came, including Carl. And I don't even think we were able to get 50 people in a room. It was like 43 people or something like that.
I was like, who's this Carl Deichler guy?
Yeah, exactly.
It's the first time I had ever even heard of him.
But they were talking about this opportunity and really explaining it. And light bulbs were going off in my head about the reality of this thing. And there were a couple of, at that time, the coach thing was already kind of rolling, maybe for a year or two. I think it had been up. Mike French, who was a full-time coach at the time, was there. Mark Briggs was there, who was already, full-time coach, had retired himself from his career as a police officer. So, solid business coach full-time. And again, the light bulbs were going off going, wow, okay, this is something that can really work and can really be something. And that's what I sort of call my birth moment in the business. My sign-up moment was back in 2008. But I didn't really get the business going till January of 2010. I had that wake-up moment. One of my mentors in this business always talks about that. He's always like, everybody in this industry has a sign-up moment and then a wake-up moment. And sometimes they're the same time, but 99% of the time, it's not at the same time. And so if you're in this business and it's not rolling for you and it's not going crazy for you yet, maybe you haven't had that moment yet. Maybe you'll have that moment today. But all of us have to come to a place where you wake up to what this really potentially is, and wake up to the realization that, wow, not only you understand what this is, but a knowing that it's for you. That it's you. Does it line up with you? And I think that's where it starts. And, we can talk about how to build and how to grow and how to place people and all of that kind of stuff. But I'm going to say, quite frankly, none of that matters if you haven't connected yet with the passion of why you're here and why you're doing this. All that stuff matters. It makes a difference. And we're going to talk about it. But before we do dive into that, it's got to be about because you're passionate about what we do. Here I am 11 years later, and what am I doing this morning? I'm in my basement getting all sweaty because that's what I love about this. And that's what we share with people, is the opportunity to live this lifestyle, open the doors for other people to live this lifestyle, and we get paid for doing that. And that's really all we do. And it's exciting to be a couple of weeks off of coming back from leadership, because that really was at least the message I got from leadership too, is kind of a revival of that sort of grassroots message of let's throw out all the confusion and the chaos, and let's boil this down to the nitty gritty. What is it that we do? We live a lifestyle. We're the example of a lifestyle, and we empower other people to live that same lifestyle, and then empower them to do that same thing, inviting and growing our community, and growing a family, and growing a community that continues to grow and continues to empower people and continues to change lives. And somewhere in there, we get to earn a paycheck out of that. And that's just a super cool thing to be part of, at least in my mind. It's way cooler than the other way that I used to earn money. I can tell you that. I thank my lucky stars every single day that I'm not putting a suit and tie on and hanging out in the courtroom for 8 hours a day like I used to do, and then go sit behind a desk for another 4 hours, doing the work so that the next day I can be back in the courtroom for another 8 hours. That's not a fun way to earn a paycheck. This is a fun way to earn a paycheck. So that's kind of how it started for me. Does that make sense, Patrick?
Totally. So, I mean, for like You have 50 coaches in your downline that have gone on to become 5-star. You have 15 millionaires, but you also have coaches in the network that are not in your downline that you've mentored and helped reach Million Club and 5-star and all that. What is it that you do with coaches that have hit that diamond rank and maybe they're making a little bit of money with their team bonuses, but they're not making enough to leave their job? What is that next call you hop on with your kind of soon to be diamond coaches in your downline, or just hit diamond? Like, what's the next kind of step from there?
I think the next step from there always, or for me anyways, or the first question I ask is, who's your partner? Who are you doing this with? And the reason why that's the first question is that this is a job. This is a business that's about building community. It's about building partnerships, and you build great success by partnering with people. You build leaders by partnering with people. Those are crazy numbers that Patrick's talking about. And even, it blows my mind away when I hear those, 15 plus people or whatever it is in the Million Club, and 30 something who have hit that 5-star diamond level. That's amazing stuff. That all comes from partnering, working together, partnering, building together, joining together, and really working together. And it's kind of funny because I make fun of my previous career of practicing law, but I took a lot from that into what I do now. And it's the same thing. I was a partner in a law firm, and law firms grow by building the partnership ranks. You want more people who can make it to the level of partner. Why? Because that builds the firm. What do you do to become a partner in a law firm? You prove that you can bring business into the firm. That's how it works. You become a partner when you show that you're someone who's bringing business into the firm.
And it's the same at the accounting firm I used to work at. It was all partners, and to get to partner, you worked your way through the ranks. You worked your way through associate to senior associate to manager to senior manager to then eventually become partner. And as a partner, you had to be able to bring business in. And then the partners are now getting paid, for the efforts of the entire team. They're not just getting paid for what they're doing. They're getting paid for the efforts of the entire partnership, all the associates and managers and senior managers. And they're training all of the people on their team to get better and better and better so that they can rise through the ranks and then eventually become a partner and join them, as a partner in the business, as well. So it's funny that accounting partnership. I kind of make fun of it a little bit too, but honestly, like you said, I learned so much from how the partners set up the partnership in the accounting and train their associates to then train the new associates, and then allow them to work their way up through the ranks until they eventually got to become partner. And this business network marketing is very, very, similar to that. And I think it sounds like you did and I did. We took a lot from our old jobs working for those partnerships.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to be looking for the people who can become your partners. Right. And I think you got to be doing that right in the beginning. And, so I don't know where everybody is on this call, but I think I heard this is like a diamond call or something like that. So once you hit that diamond level, when you hit diamond, it's a great personal accomplishment. And one of the things that I always talk with people about in this business is there's 2 levels of success. There's personal success, and then there's team success. And you got to have personal success because you got to know how to do it, right? And that's hitting Success Club, maybe going elite, hitting diamond. Those are things that represent personal success. Your income, though, is going to be greatly dependent upon how well you do at building team success. And again, I reflect back on that sort of law firm idea. You can be the greatest lawyer in the world and have amazing personal success, but just like here, the road to the highest levels of success and income generation come through your partnering. come through your building of a team. And that's what happens here. So once you hit diamond, you've proven that you've got the personal thing going. And hopefully you've got the Success Club thing going too. I like to talk about something that I call the pace. And if you haven't checked out my YouTube channel yet, go ahead and check it out. I haven't put up anything new, actually, quite honestly, in about a year or so, but all the videos that are there are all completely still relevant. And there's one of them in there called the pace. And so that I don't have to waste an hour going into that, it basically talks about, well, once you hit diamond, you should learn that Success Club 5 to 10, signing 1 or 2 coaches a month who want to be part of the business. Those are things that are part of the pace. And this is a marathon. This isn't a sprint. Notice I didn't say Success Club 4,000, right? If you can, then do it. I've never been a coach who does Success Club 4,000. 5 to 10 every single month consistently, running a marathon, getting that pace. 1 to 2 coaches a month who are interested in the business, because that's where I'm going to find my partners from. And if you're at that diamond level and you're trying to break through to that next level, you're looking for a partner or 2. You're looking for who can you partner with to start to build your business. And here's the cool thing. It doesn't have to be personally sponsored people. In the very beginning, you should have a couple who you bring in and sponsor who are going to be your partners, because that's going to come in down the road later too. But in terms of building out your team and building volume, you just want to find the people in your downline who you can partner with, who wants to run, who wants to do this business, who you can work together with, and get busy partnering, because you want to drive duplication. And the best way you're going to drive duplication is partner with the people who want to do it and do it with them. Do it with them. I've spent a lot of time partnering with people in my downline. Once I learned how to go 5-star, I was like, boom, let's do it. Who wants to go next? And then I'd get into that person's business. Not, hey, I did 5-star, here's the roadmap, you go do it. No, it was like, Patrick, you ready to go? Let's go. Who's your list? Let's talk to them together. Can I talk to some of your people? Can we do group presentations? What are you doing next? What do you need help with? How can I help you grow your business? Because you're in my downline, I want you 5-star.
Yeah.
I don't want to take off and leave you in the dust. You're my partner. I want you to run with me. And that, I think, is the crucial mindset for driving success in this business. All too often, I see people getting wrapped up in the personal success thing. And they can run for years even and hit all the great things. I've been elite 72 times and 6 million Success Club points and blah, 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 blah. But I'm not making any money yet. Why? Maybe they haven't built a team yet. Maybe they don't have partners yet. It's not enough to just have personal success in this business. Now, I want to make sure that everyone's understanding that. I'm not saying don't do the personal success. You got to have the personal success, but you can't do it alone. All right? It's like building a basketball team. I don't care if you're Michael Jordan. You can't go on the court by yourself and even compete with any other NBA team, right? You can't do it. You can't do it. Even Michael Jordan, you go him on the court all by himself against any NBA team. Take the last place NBA team, put their 5 starters on the court, and they're going to kick his ass every single time, right? This business is the same way. Be the last place NBA team, right? And kick the crap out of whoever that number 1 player is in your ability to drive success. And it all starts with partnering. It all starts with working together as a unit. And you got to start that right away as soon as you can. And, Patrick mentioned Keith Callahan. Keith Callahan was one of the very first people in my business who I started partnering with. And we did it pretty early on. It was shortly after that January 2010 meeting. You know, he wasn't even a coach yet by then. He had, I think, by January of 2010, Keith had already blocked me on Facebook, had already had a home intervention. He was a good friend of mine, where he came to my house, sat me down on the couch and said, dude, you got 4 kids, you're running a law firm. What are you doing with this shake stuff? We got to have a talk here, right? That's where I was with Keith Callahan at that point. But some things happened in that year, 2010. I had that wake up moment. I went to my first summit, and belief really started to change. And Keith saw the belief that started to change, and he tells the story, you know, that he saw once he saw the belief. Once he saw that not only did I believe it, but I was going, that's when he was like, I'm not missing this train. I'm on. And he was the very first one. It was just me and him in the beginning. So if you're a brand new diamond and you're like, yeah, but I don't have a downline, I bet you there's somebody there that you can partner with. And if there isn't, let's say you just signed up yesterday and you're a rock star. You went diamond in the first day because you did it right. You signed up your spouse, you found a few friends, and all of a sudden you're like, 8 people? Yeah, I can do 8 people. Give me 24 hours, right? And all of a sudden you're a diamond, but maybe none of those people are ready to partner yet. That's okay. Get a success partner. You talk to Patrick, you talk to your upline, say, hey, I really want to do this. Who do I work with? You got to start that partnering process. Learn how to do this as a team player. You know, we have the 4 vital behaviors. We used to have something called the game plan, which was 10 vital behaviors. And one of them was be a team player. And I'm always sad that we pulled that one out. I mean, it's not that we pulled it out. We just don't focus on it as much. I do focus on that one a lot. And in fact, I still like to use the whole 10 list. We kind of simplified it down to 4. And I don't know, I'm not a believer that we have to dumb everything down, right? And maybe that's not the right word, but we don't always have to simplify everything down. I think people can handle 10 rules. It doesn't have to just be 3 or 4. One of them is you got to be a team player. And that means a lot. Like, you know, meditate on that for the rest of the month. What does it mean to be a team player in this business? Show up at the events, get on the calls, make sure you're working with a success partner. Who are you helping in your business? Who are you lifting up? And what are you doing to duplicate yourself? Those are all the things that you got to be focused on in the beginning, especially if you're a brand new diamond. Those are your goals. Sometimes what happens is people hit diamond and they're like, oh, I know how to do this. My goal is to hit Success Club every month. My goal is to do the 4 vital behaviors, and everything's going to be great. No, I'm sorry. Reality wake-up call. Everything isn't going to be great if that's all. You got to learn how to start duplicating yourself. Yeah. And if you don't start duplicating yourself, then you're going to have a wake-up call because you're going to be on an island all by yourself as a superstar. You're going to be that Michael Jordan standing on the court, and here comes an NBA team of 5 players coming at you, and you're not going to be able to do it. You got to start partnering.
Bob, I love the idea of personal success versus team success and the partnering up. So when you're looking in your downline, I know that you don't really focus on whether it's going to be a personally sponsored coach or maybe it's a non-personally sponsored coach that you see the potential in that really wants to do this, and you decide, okay, this is who I'm going to partner with. What does that look like, that partnership, as far as how often you're connecting with them? Because you've done this, you know, over the years. You've decided, okay, this is who I want to partner with right now. What did the amount of times you connected with them? Was it phone? Would you pick up the phone? Did you have a set call every week, every day? Like, kind of, what did that partnership look like? Because I think there's a lot of coaches on the call now that probably have someone in their downline that they would love to, you know, create that partnership with, and just maybe need a few just kind of tips and exactly what to do with that partnership.
Right. Yeah. Great question. And that can look, a couple of different ways. Patrick mentioned a couple of things. It might look like a weekly phone call with a partner. It might look like daily phone calls. When Keith and I jumped in and we were partnering, it was every day. I was like, at that point, we both made the commitment that by the end of that year, we were leaving our jobs. Okay. So we put our backs up against the wall and we said, by the end of this year, we're leaving our jobs. So what does that mean? That means we get to treat this like a business. And Patrick said it in the beginning, treat your business like a business. That used to be one of the 10. Treat your business like a business. And what did that mean? For me, and Keith was running a business at the same time. So I was like, Keith, what do you do in your business? Like, well, every morning we start with executive meeting. And I was like, cool. You know what? In the law firm that I work at, every morning we start with a partner meeting. It's only 20 minutes long, but it's a partner meeting that says, what are you doing today? Here's what I'm doing today. What do you need? We all know what each other's doing today. We all know what the support staff, might need. Oh, this guy's got a trial today, so this is happening. Okay, boom. What's the first thing we're going to do? And Keith and I initiated, we're doing a partner call. Every single day, even if it's only 15 minutes. What are you doing today? What's on your agenda today? And it's accountability. It's just like your challenge groups. It's accountability, it's support, it's clarification. Sometimes it's brainstorming, Hey, what do you got going on today? Wow, I'm going to go, I'm presenting to a yoga studio owner. Man, I've never presented to a business owner before. What are some of the things that I should be aware of? But blah, blah, blah. And you get a lot happens when you do that simple discipline. All of a sudden, it gets serious. It gets real. There's somebody who you're talking to every day who's helping to give structure and a concrete foundation to what you're doing in your daily activities. And that's a great way to use your success partner too, by the way. And it doesn't have to be every day. Maybe you're talking every other day, even if you're only doing a weekly call. Make sure it has that kind of concrete benefit to it. It's not the emotional support. Hey, how you doing today? That stuff's cool too. And do that too. You should do that, by the way. But don't let that be a substitute for having a real business conversation. Okay, that's one thing. And then the second thing, and this all depends on where you are in the business, is think about what does it mean to really be a true partner. When I was a partner in the law firm, if Patrick was one of the attorneys in the law firm, if Patrick couldn't make it to work today, say had a family emergency or something, somebody's got to cover his cases, right? So I need to know what his cases are, and I'm going to jump in and cover because I'm his partner. I'm not just going to let his business go down the tubes, because his business going down the tubes is also my business going down the tubes. So I need to know what's on his plate that I can help with. Right. I took that into the way that I work with my Beachbody coaches, and I'll give you just a couple of examples. One of the women on my team, who is a Million Club member, she's been a strong, deep six-figure earner for a long time. And there's a difference between being a six-figure earner. You earn like $100,000 a year, right? That's six figures. But six figures could also be $999,000 a year, right? So there's a long range in there. Well, she's a deep six-figure earner and has been for a very long time.
Sorry, I just want to interrupt real quick because it reminded me of a time that you spoke on our team call, and you said that you were earning 5 figures a week.
Yep.
All right, so that's like another little in that 6-figure range. Once you get to that 10 grand a week, so you're making $500,000 a year. You can say, hey, now, okay, I'm making five figures a week is kind of the saying.
Yeah, right.
I'm still shooting for that. I'm still shooting for that 5 figures a week.
It's a good place to get to.
Yeah.
So that shows you like the range where you can be. So this woman, just to get back to the story on how did I partner with her, she was one of the people that I went after in the beginning because I knew she'd be a great coach. She was already in the holistic health industry. That's another whole topic that we could talk about. But in your recruiting, please make sure you're targeting people who you know or think would be great coaches, not just people who would be great challengers in your challenge groups. Yes, build your challenge groups. Yes, recruit from your challenge groups. Yes, I started as a customer. Yes, 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 yes. Sometimes people listen to me and they're like, oh, he's against challenge groups. He's against. No, I'm not against those things. I love those things. But make sure that you understand that this business requires a little bit more than just that. Target people who you think will be good coaches and go after them for that reason. So this woman is someone who I went after for that reason. And again, she was a no the first couple of times. Those people usually are, by the way. Keith was somebody I knew would be great in the business. He was a no, like a solid no for like 6 months. And look at where he is now. So make sure you're targeting those. She joins, becomes a coach, does it like for a couple months, doing pretty good. She's one of these people who comes with a real list of contact people, and she got it going. And then I still remember today, I got a phone call from her, and she's like, Bob, I'm really sorry, but I think I'm going to have to quit. I'm like, what? Why? She's like, well, I'm a single mom. I'm running this other business. I'm still working full time. This Beachbody thing seems really cool and I'm excited about it, but I just got too many other things going on. I can't give it the time right now. Ding! Light bulb goes off. Hey, wait a minute. I'm full time. You're part time. You're my partner. Let me do some of that work. You got a contact list that you're telling me you don't have enough time to get to. Let me make some of those calls for you. You've got a follow-up list that you're telling me you don't have time to get to. Give me those names. I pick up the phone. Oh, hello, my name's Bob Lucido. Lisa's my business partner. I understand you guys had a great conversation yesterday about Beachbody. She wanted to follow up and give you a call back today, but she's with her daughter at school. She asked me to give you a call as her business partner. Boom, doors open. We start talking, close the deal. Boom. Signed up. That's what I mean about partnering. Like, get in the business with them. That's also right about the time when I started doing small group business presentations. So there were like 4 or 5 coaches who I was working with in a mentor situation or something. I'd say, okay, here's the deal. All 4 or 5 of you are going to invite 2 people, and we're going to do a group Zoom call, and I'm going to do the presentation. I'm going to answer all the questions, and you're just going to follow up with them. Partnering. Use my skills to help build your business. And that worked out so well that I have continued that over and over and over and over and over again many times. The first year that I turned 5-star. I turned 5-star diamond. I think it was like I forget which year it was, but whatever. It was like at the end of a year, like right at the end, like December or something like that. The whole next year, got to December of the whole next year, I ended the year at 5-star. Didn't move one bit. Gave myself a $300,000 raise that year. $300,000 raise. And I know Patrick's going to put the income disclaimer here and all of that fun stuff. But that's a pretty amazing raise. I never, ever, 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 ever in the 20 years of being a lawyer gave myself that kind of a raise. And it was all because of doing this kind of partnering. Because I had a couple of people who came into the downline. They weren't even my personally sponsored people. They were not my personally sponsored coaches. Hear that.
That's the magic.
My personally sponsored coaches. But they were people who came in and same kind of story. They're like, oh, you want me to show up with a 50-person list? I kind of got ahead of you. Last night I put together a 300-person list, but I work full time and I do not have time to call these people. Guess what? I have time to call those people. Give me the list. I'll start making the phone calls for you. Or another person that I did this with, I said, look, you've got a great list. Do a one-liner email that says, I joined this brand new business. I'm super excited about it. My partner, Bob Lucido, is going to be reaching out to you this week to give you some information. Please listen. One line, one sentence, sent that email out to a couple hundred people, then gave me the list of the couple hundred people who got that email. And I got busy doing the introduction call. Partnering means partnering. How can you help that person build this business? Here's the deal, guys. If you've made it to diamond, you know how to do this business. It doesn't get any harder. You don't have to learn anything more than what you've already learned how to do. Now you just get busy doing it over and over and over again and helping other people do it over and over and over again. Thinking about the ways that you can extend your talents to help grow your team, to help grow your organization. And the cool thing that happens after that is you're offering these people, your business partners, kind of on-the-job training, right? On-the-job training with an expert. And whenever I sign somebody up, I always say, congratulations, you're an expert in this business. You know why? Because you got me as a co-pilot. I'm your co-pilot, and we're going to sit together side by side until you're 100% comfortable doing this. And after a little while, they will be 100% comfortable doing this if you get in there and do it with them. And the opposite can happen as well. And I've seen this happen all too often. And that is that you have someone in your business and they've been around for years. And they still aren't comfortable doing it. Why? Because you're asking them to do it out there all by themselves. And yes, you can learn this all by yourself. It's a whole lot easier when you can partner with somebody who knows how to do it and shows you how to do it, does it for you. One of my beginning teachers, mentors, whatever word you want to use in the beginning, used to always say, I'll do it and you watch. Then you do it and I'll watch right there with you. And I can answer some of the questions too. I'm your training wheels until we get you to the point where you can do it without me. And then once you can do it without me, you'll do it with a co-pilot and duplicate that process. That's a powerful process. And if you get that duplicating in your downline, amazing things will happen for you because you're really empowering everybody who comes into the business. And again, I think of it back in my old, corporate setting. We would never, ever, ever take in a new hire, sit that person in an office all by themselves and say, go. Never, right? You'd have a ramp up, you'd have a training, they would shadow somebody, you would never take a brand new hire and say, okay, I want you to sit down with 10 new clients today and you're going to sit in the conference room all by yourself with them and you're going to do intake. Because you know how many of those clients would have stuck around after that day? None, right? And it's the same thing here. But we're all willing to do that in this business for some reason. We're willing to sign somebody up and go, here you go, just go do it. Here's the 4 vital behaviors. Here, watch a couple of videos. How come you're not an expert yet? Let them shadow you. I have a son, just turned 25. He just got certified to be a personal trainer. He's working with a buddy of mine, and he's doing really, really well. Just started working with his own clients. And it's funny because a couple of weeks ago we had a sit down and I was all excited and ramped up for him, and he gave me a little reality check. He's like, yeah, I've been through everything, but I don't feel comfortable just jumping in with a client all by myself tomorrow. What's that all about? And I had to step back and go, oh yeah, wait a minute. That's not how you do it, right? You need to shadow somebody who knows what they're doing until you get that comfort level. That's what you want to be doing with your new coaches. Give them the opportunity to succeed by sharing your talents. Give some of that away. I've always said, and again, I think sometimes people take this the wrong way, but I've always said, if I have the ability to earn 50 Success Club points this month, I'd rather that I earn 5 and 10 other people on my team also earn 5 because I gave them my time and I helped them out. 3-way calls, conference calls, help with follow-ups, whatever it is, put me in their business. You shouldn't be racing against your own team. You shouldn't be racing against your own downline. You should be running together with your downline. My daughter's a freshman in high school, and she did, for the first time, she did the cross country team. And it was amazing because last week they were at I'm in Massachusetts. They were in the Western Mass finals, and big race, all this stuff. And I watched, and a couple of the seniors actually ran with a couple of the younger girls, and they crossed the finish line holding hands. They got disqualified for some strange reason because you're not allowed to, I don't know why, but you can't, they wouldn't allow them to do it. But it was such a powerful thing to see. And I thought about our partnering here. Are you willing to step back and hold hands with the people in your downline and help them get across that finish line instead of worrying about you getting across the finish line and leaving everybody else behind? That's the wrong mentality for this business. You got to have the no one gets left behind mentality to succeed in this business. You got to have the humility to be able to step back a little bit and make sure everybody else is getting out, right? It's the building's on fire kind of thing, right? Anybody in here Seinfeld fans? Anybody ever watch that show, Seinfeld, right? I don't know, remember the one where George is with his girlfriend and there's like a smoke coming out of the kitchen and he thinks it's a fire. He's pushing everybody out of the way and getting out, right? Don't be that person. Be the person who makes sure everybody else gets out first. Because if you do that, you're going to have amazing success. And sometimes that means you got to take a look at yourself. Yes, you want to lead from the front. Yes, you want to be the example of getting everything, from the front. But make sure you're also being aware of what everybody else in your team needs so that your team is crossing the finish line. This is a team business. This is a team effort. And especially, the topic of this call somehow was, building income or whatever. How do you build income? That's how you do it. You gotta get to the team mentality because that's how it works. It is so much more important for me in terms of building income that I have 30-something people who have made it to 5-star diamond and whatever it is, 15 or whatever, who have made it to Million Club, instead of just me focusing on me. Because if I didn't have those numbers, the income numbers would look very, very different. Does that make sense to everybody?
Totally. Chelsea had a question in here about partnering up with someone in her downline that's the same rank or maybe even a higher rank. And I just asked her like who she was thinking of and what the rank was. And I think she said Sydney, and Sydney's a 4-star. So my question to Chelsea would be, what is your average team volume in each leg? Because if you have one leg that is like 5 times the volume of the other leg, then Bob, you probably would want to be partnering with someone who's in the weak leg.
Yes. So we started the call with just finding anybody who needs help, right? And especially if you're diamond and there's not a lot of people in your diamond. Now, taking it up to the next level, if you're somebody who has a decent downline, then you want to start to get strategic about where you're putting your efforts. So I'm always looking at my organization and I'm looking for weak spots. Where's a weak spot in my business that isn't growing, that I need to grow because of, the way that it's going to drive team cycle bonuses for me? And I look for people on a weak leg in a weak area of my team to partner with. But that's later on, when you get going down the road. And for Chelsea, I guess what I would say is, number one, yes, partner with that 4-star, but also look over, if that person isn't on a weak leg, are there people in the weak leg, or are there people in the weak side of your business who might need that help?
Right.
But that 4-star who's in your business might be a great success partner for you also, to help you grow, which is cool too. And don't ever think that someone in your downline is too strong or too far, above you or whatever to be working with you, because you got to play the long game. I've been here for 11 years, and I'm here for 11 years because I'm always making sure I'm playing the long game. And just because somebody's already 4-star diamond doesn't mean they don't need your help anymore. Let's make sure that 4-star diamond is here 10 years from now, right? And the way you do that is you do make those solid partnerships. Of my personally sponsored, I'm always want to make sure my personally sponsored are getting solid attention, so they're going to be here for a long time.
Right.
Most of that inner circle, especially in my first business center of personally sponsored, many of them are on that list of Million Club member, 5-star diamond or above. They're not going anywhere, right? When somebody's making a solid 6 figures, Million Club member, they're not going to disappear on you. And that's the other side of this partnering thing, is to keep your circle tight. Build a community. This is a community, which is even cooler than building a law firm partnership. This is community that you want connection. I want those people here 10, 20, 30 years from now. And I know that they will be here if we create that family connection. I want to be concerned that their business is growing and fulfilling them as much as my business is growing and fulfilling me. So I know they're happy. I know they're going to be here for a long time. That's part of longevity, long-term success.
Bob, I want to respect your time. We're at the hour mark here, but do you have time for one more question?
Yeah.
Okay, because a couple people had kind of a similar question. I'm sure that you've noticed this in your law firm and in your business, where you might have a new hire or a new coach and you're giving them your time, but they're not reciprocating it. And you get to the point where you're not sure of, should I be having this mentality of nobody left behind, or the mentality of, man, I feel like I'm dragging people. How do you kind of make sure you're not dragging people and you're partnering up with the right people? That whole aspect of the business. Because I think sometimes we want to partner with people, but we end up sometimes feeling like we're dragging them.
Right. And that's a great question. And that's one that comes up a lot. And it's a real question because we all face it. And I face it too all the time. So I want you to have the no one gets left behind mentality, but I also want you to have the everybody gets to carry their own load mentality. You're not here to carry people on your back. You're not here to, I told the story of, getting in and helping people with follow-up calls and actually doing that stuff for people who had a full-time job who were actively working to make Beachbody their full-time job. I don't just offer that to anybody, right? And you want to be judicious about that as well. And I think the golden rule there always is, I will match your energy. I'll talk to you every single day, but I don't want to be the one who has to make the phone call, right? If you're calling me every single day, let's talk. If I gave you a list of things to do yesterday and you did them, I love those kind of people. Hey, I did everything you told me yesterday. What do I do now? Yeah, let's go, right?
Yeah. Wow. Versus they call and they're like, well, did you do what we talked about yesterday? And they're like, no.
Right. And my golden rule usually with people who I'm working one-on-one with is we end every call with an action list. And you get your next call when the action list has been completed.
Yeah.
Okay. Or you're in the middle of doing something on the action list and you have a question about something on the action list that you're doing. And that little general rule right there helps to usually weed out that process of chasing people, because we all have people who come in the business and they make all these big promises, or we think they're going to be the greatest coach ever, and then we chase them and all of that kind of stuff. You don't want to ever get into that situation. I am ready and willing to give you 150% if you give me 150%. And so I think if you can just kind of take in that attitude of matching your energy. I'll match whatever you bring to the table, and I'm ready to run as fast as you want. But if you're not running at all, I have other people who want to run, and those are the people who are going to get my time.
Yeah.
So there is a little quid pro quo there. There is a little, you gotta bring something to the table.
Yeah. I love the given the action steps at the end of the call, and that the next call isn't going to happen until the action steps have been taken. Then you don't feel like you're dragging people. They're actually taking, they're carrying their own load at that point. Like you said, any quick tips for this time of year? I know you've been a coach for 10 years, and this time of year, anything that you notice that really kind of helps your team stay engaged and crush the holidays and set themselves up for a ton of success for the New Year's resolutions?
I think it comes down to focus. It's funny is that this last Super Saturday weekend, by the way, I'm huge on getting to events, by the way. So I go to a few Super Saturdays. Every time there's a Super Saturday weekend, I try to get somewhere Saturday, try to get somewhere Sunday, Friday night if something's happening. Get into the community as much as you can. This is a community business. So that's one of the topics that came up, because it's funny. A lot of people, I think, complain or have the wrong idea about this time of the year. Oh, this is the slow time of year. And I hear that all the time. And I'm always like, in the 11 years that I've been in this business, this is not a slow time for me. And that hasn't been a reality in my business. But I think it's also a personal thing. I love this time of year. And, I'm kind of a weird, geeky kind of a student person. I get excited about back to school time. I really do. And I think that what you need to do in this time of the year is you need to put effort into revitalizing that energy. And it's funny because when we made the decision to dive into this business, and really go at it 100%. I remember sitting down with my wife and I said, you know what, I'm going to approach this the same way I did when I went to law school. And I went out to Staples and I bought some notebooks and I got some pens and I got my back to school pack all set together and I dove in on it just like that. And it's really interesting because every year I repeat that in September. And a lot of people do it in January. For some reason, for me, it's that I like that time of the year, that back to school time of the year. That's when I refresh my calendars. That's when I go to Staples and I get my new supplies. And when I get my kids ready to go back to school, I get myself ready for the fall and I dive in. And I really believe that process alone gets me engaged. And if I'm engaged, my business is going to grow. So if you're someone who struggles at this time of the year with engagement, I would say focus on your engagement. I've seen crazy engagement in my business over the last month, but it's because I'm super engaged. Start a new program, talk about it, revitalize what you're doing as a coach and be vocal about it, be present about it so people see it. It's always, always, always a reflection of your energy. The number one thing that you can do to grow your business, get yourself amped up. That's what it is. If you're excited, if you're enthusiastic, and you're in 100%, That's attractive. People want to be part of that. I don't care how well you know every ingredient in Shakeology and how scientific you can be about breaking down the movements of every fitness program. You know what? I don't have any of that, but I got enthusiasm, and people see it, right? I mean, they know what I'm happy about what I'm doing, and I'm not shy about sharing it. And people see, they're like, I want that. I want to be part of that. How do I feel like that? You know, why are you 53 years old acting like a 20-year-old, idiot? Because I get to. Because I get to. That's what it comes down to. I get to. And if you can just live that and just make sure people can see that, your engagement will go up. That's what it's about. There's no magic scripts. In fact, I hate scripts because I hated them when I was a lawyer and I hate them now. If you're using scripted language, everybody knows it. I used to love, when I was practicing law, and I knew who the attorneys were who used forms all the time, right? It's not their language. It's not their thought process. And I could tear them apart because I knew all they were doing was using a form. And if you're using a script, you're in trouble because it's not you. You got to be you. You got to be authentic. You got to be genuine and enthusiastic. That's what's going to attract people to you, and that's what's going to amp up engagement. That's all people want. Let's be honest. There's a zillion different nutritional products that people can go to and they can use. There's a zillion different fitness programs out there that people can go to and they can use. Why should they come to you? They should come to you because of you. And that's what you got to embrace. Why should people come to me? I don't know, because I'm having fun. You want to have fun? Come on over. Let's have some fun. And that's what it is.
How many of you guys want to be like Bob when you're 52? Yeah, I love it. This was awesome, Bob. All right, guys, let's give Bob a big boom on 3. Bob, thanks so much for taking the time to hop on here and share with us. We always love your wisdom, and we're going to be popping some millionaires. We're going to get up to 15, just like your team.
Awesome.
All right, guys, go ahead. You can unmute yourself. Let's give this guy a big boom on 3. 1, 2, 3. Boom! Love it. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you guys for having me. Have a great day.
See you guys.